Hi everyone. Now I'm going to run you through a few exercises that you could do to try and see if you've learned the concepts that we've shown in the previous um, video. The first exercise is only with conditionals. It just basically tests if you understood the syntax and the way you use conditionals. So we want to see, the exercise is to see if a certain number A is positive. If it is positive, save it in a variable called is pos. So here I've given you A is equal to 2 and is pos is equal to true. I want you to write an if else statement over here to see if A is positive. Now positive numbers are numbers that are greater than 0. I hope this should be pretty okay. And you can now save it in this variable called is pos after you run it. A second exercise, make a list of numbers, create a new list, which is different from the first list, loop over the list and save the square of the first square of each of these numbers in the new list. So for example, if my list is, say my L1 is 1 comma 2 comma 4, I want my output to be 1 comma 4 comma 16, and this should apply for any list. Just write in a loop as we've shown in the previous video using for, and you should be able to do this. The third exercise basically tests if you understand functions, and here this is a very basic function. I wanted to take in three numbers as an input, and I wanted to return a multiplied by b plus c. So for example, if the function takes the input 2 comma 3 comma 1, I want the output to be 7. So you write your code here. Once you do that, the fourth exercise is to create two lists and then to just add both of them together. Now, for this, you'll have a list 1, which is say 5 comma 2 comma 7. Create a second list and then loop over it. So here is the hint. The hint is to use range and len. So if I want to iterate over the loop the elements of a certain list, then I say if for I in range len list 1. So what this would do is it would loop over each of these elements inside the list. So you can get 5, 2, and 7. If I, for example, say print the value of I is, and then I, and if I say the element in the list is uh, and list 1, and I say print just a horizontal line sort of a thing. So I say the value of I is 0 and the element in the list is 5. The value of I is 1, the element in the list is 2, and the value of I is 2, the element in the list is 7. So it's this way of iterating over the elements of a list. I hope this is also pretty straightforward. Now here I'm just trying to show you that each of these things that we do can take in compositions of these things, in the sense that you can have a function which returns a certain value based on uh, its inputs, but you're also being expected to use a conditional in this function. So I've just written a function called convert temp, where it's completely empty, but I want it to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit and vice versa, depending on whether the input is Fahrenheit. So if is Fahrenheit is true, then you convert from Fahrenheit to centigrade, and if it is false, then convert from centigrade to Fahrenheit. So here I've given you the formulae so that it makes your life a little more simpler, because you may not know them. So if my uh, if my Fahrenheit, if it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, then my centigrade temperature is 5 by 9 into F minus 32. So that would be 0 degrees centigrade. And similarly, if it is 0 degrees centigrade, then it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is what this formula shows. So just do this for now. And um, the thing about coding is that the more you code, the more you get used to coding, the more you get better at it, the more you understand a certain language, the more you understand the value of various parts in coding. You'll also start realizing what are the more important parts of that language. So, for example, you'll learn something like for range and len. This is a pretty common construct that is used in coding in Python because it's what's used to iterate over any object that has a lot of elements in it. For now, we've just shown lists, but there are a lot more. And for a more comprehensive set of programs and questions and answers, just follow this link. And coding just follows this principle of the more work you put into it, the better you get at it, and the more you get used to it, the faster you can code. So there's no way around it. It's in some sense similar to learning a language. In the beginning, everything will be rusty and slow, but as you do more and more of it, you get better and better at it. So don't give up, don't get overwhelmed, and just keep trying.